Have you ever felt like the very people who were supposed to support you turned their backs on you? This is the story of Joseph, a young man betrayed by his own brothers, not because of what he did wrong, but because of what he carried. What they didn't know was that their betrayal was necessary. It was all part of God's divine plan. Joseph had a dream, a God-given vision that one day he would be in a position of leadership and influence. He told his brothers about this dream, saying, "There we were, binding sheaves in the field. Then behold, my sheaf arose and also stood upright. And indeed, your sheaves stood all around and bowed down to my sheaf." Genesis 37, 6-7. But instead of celebrating his dream, his brothers were filled with jealousy. The more Joseph dreamed, the more they hated him. What Joseph didn't realize was this: not everyone can handle the dream God gives you. Sometimes the very thing that makes you favored by God makes you a target to others. One day, as Joseph went to check on his brothers in the field, they saw him coming from a distance and plotted against him. "Look, this dreamer is coming. Come therefore, let us now kill him and cast him into some pit, and we shall see what will become of his dreams." Genesis 37, 19-20. They stripped him of his colorful coat and threw him into a dry pit. Instead of killing him, they decided to sell him for 20 pieces of silver to a group of traders heading to Egypt. To them, it was over. They had gotten rid of the dreamer, but what they didn't know was that they had just handed him the first ticket to his destiny. If Joseph was never betrayed, he would never be sold. If he was never sold, he would never go to Egypt. If he never arrived in Egypt, he would never enter Pharaoh's palace. It was in Egypt that Joseph's life took many turns. He was falsely accused and thrown into prison. But even there, the hand of God was on him. In that prison, he interpreted the dreams of two officials, one of whom would eventually speak his name to Pharaoh. When Pharaoh had troubling dreams no one could interpret, Joseph was summoned from the prison. Through the wisdom God gave him, Joseph not only interpreted the dreams, but also provided a solution to save the land from famine. Pharaoh responded, "Inasmuch as God has shown you all this, there is no one as discerning and wise as you. See, I have set you over all the land of Egypt." Genesis 41, 39-41. Just like that, Joseph went from prisoner to prince. But the story doesn't end there. Years later, during the Great Famine, Joseph's brothers came to Egypt seeking food. They stood before him, not recognizing that the man in authority was the same brother they betrayed. Joseph could have taken revenge. He could have made them suffer like they made him suffer. But instead, he wept. And then he said, "I am Joseph, your brother, whom you sold into Egypt. But now, do not therefore be grieved or angry with yourselves because you sold me here. For God sent me before you to preserve life. It was not you who sent me here, but God." Genesis 45, 4-8. Think about that. Joseph said, "God sent me." What they meant for evil, God used for good. This is the revelation. The betrayal was necessary. The rejection, the abandonment, the lies. They were all stepping stones. God used every moment of pain to position Joseph exactly where he needed him to be. Romans 8:28 says, "And we know that all things work together for good to those who love God, to those who are the called according to his purpose." Joseph's life teaches us that your pain is never wasted in the hands of God. The pit was part of the process. The betrayal was part of the plan. So if you've ever asked, why did they hurt me? Why did they walk away? Why did they betray me? Maybe the answer is, they had to. Because if they didn't reject you, God couldn't have redirected you. If they didn't throw you in the pit, you wouldn't have made it to the palace. You are not forgotten. You are being positioned. God is working behind the scenes, even in betrayal, even in pain, even in silence. So hold on. Your purpose is still unfolding. What they did to hurt you, God is using to heal you. And what they meant to destroy you, God is using to develop you. From betrayal to blessing. From pit to palace. From brokenness to purpose. This is not the end. It's only the beginning. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. God bless you.